the great football arenas anywhere in this country. Over 76,000 on hand and a beautiful day in Denver. They had talked about rain, but no rain anywhere in sight. The Denver Broncos. This is their home, and this is a great spot to watch football. Good afternoon. I'm Pat Summerall. Welcome to Mile High Stadium. Working with me, as usual, the coach himself, John Madden. And John, the Broncos came off 4-0 preseason. They came off with high expectations. They were disappointed last week against the San Diego Chargers. Some say that the Bronco receivers particularly are having a problem adjusting to Dan Reeves' offensive system.
Of course, Dan Reeves, coming from Dallas, he's using that type of system, and it does take time. And they had a big game plan. Craig Morton was saying that for San Diego, they had a lot of plays in their game plan last week, and he said this week they have even more. But the thing that concerns them is in the preseason, they were undefeated, and they thought that they couldn't be beaten. And they feel that they didn't bring in the right type of attitude last week against San Diego. And the most important thing is that they know that they can lose if they don't play their best, and they have to come out firing today.
On the subject of the San Francisco 49ers, of course, they are the defending Super Bowl champions. That's a problem in itself. It doesn't seem like it would be, but it is. They've had an awful lot of injuries. Now, Bill Walsh has rather unusual offensive philosophies. What about what he told us yesterday?
He said, as much as he likes to pass, his quarterback Joe Montana likes to pass, that last week against the Raiders, they threw too much. Last week, they threw 41 passes, and he said the ideal game is to throw about 28 to 30 times and then have about 20 to 25 runs. So this week, he feels he has to run more, and the player he wants to do it with is Vince Williams, who will be playing today in his first NFL game.
All right, John, thank you very much. You just had a glimpse of Bill Walsh on the sideline getting ready. We'll get into that subject of how many injuries they've had later on. Right now, Ray Wersching is set to kick off to either Gerald Wilhite, number 47, or Wade Manning, number 83. They're deep for the Broncos. High kick. Wilhite, their number 1 draft choice, will handle. He's outside the 30 to about the 33-yard line before he's knocked down by Horn from San Francisco. Bob Horn. Starting lineup. Let's run it down for Denver for you. Quarterback will be Craig Morton. The runners, Dave Preston and Rick Parris. The wide receivers, Steve Watsons, who's nicked a little bit, and the veteran Rick Upchurch. Up front, some changes. Claudie Miner at left tackle, Glassick, Brian Studdard, Lanier, and Riley Odoms. They'll start with 2 tight ends as Morton comes up for the first time. Preston and Parris, the runners. This is Dave Preston first, and he gets outside in good shape. Doesn't get as much as it looked like he might. Carlton Williamson came up to make the hit and the stop. On defense, it'll be a 3-man front. Look at the stars by the side of these people. Pillars, Hardy in the middle, and Stuckey the other end. Those stars mean that they did not start in that position in the Super Bowl not too long ago. McCall, Reynolds, Horn, and Keena Turner, the linebackers. And the secondary, a good one. Lott, Thomas, Dwight Hicks, and Carlton Williamson. Thomas is different also. It'll be 2nd and 8 for Denver. They're at their own 35-yard line. Rick Parris, Gerald Wilhite, now the runners. Fake to Wilhite. Morton steps up in the pocket. Upchurch has it. First down, Denver. Dwight Hicks, the defender. A good throw by Morton. 20-yard pickup. Denver moves quickly into San Francisco territory.
Pat, you just mentioned that Eric Wright, the right corner for the 49ers, isn't starting. Lynn Thomas is starting in his place, and it didn't take Denver any time to go to work to that side. Rick Upchurch on and out to the left against Lynn Thomas.
Lynn Thomas, of course, was around last year as a backup. Now starting because of the injury. It's 1st and 10, Denver. Morton back to Preston. Preston with good yardage. Down to the 45, lost the football. 49ers say they have it. Those of you who just watched the New Orleans Saints shut out Chicago, welcome to Mile High Stadium in Denver. Kenny Stabler had a touchdown pass. Tony Frisch, the newly acquired, kicked the 40-yard field goal for the New Orleans Saints, and they beat Chicago 10-0.
That's the old Houston connection there. But, this was a problem that the Broncos had last week. Last week, against the Chargers, they had 6 turnovers. Dan Reeves says you can't win with that. The second play, they have a turnover.
And there is the young coach of the Denver Broncos, and there the veteran coach of San Francisco.
In my business, I need a competitive edge, especially when I'm away from home.
Stadium, here's the turnover.
You know, last week they had 4 fumbles. This is the first time they ran the ball today, and it looked like Dave Preston just dropped the ball. It really wasn't knocked out of there by a 49er.
49ers, however, take over. First and 10 at their own 41, their first possession. No scores yet. Montana has Earl Cooper. And he pitches back to Earl Cooper quickly. Cooper to the left side, gets good yardage. Out close to midfield. Mike Harden knocked Cooper out of bounds. Here is the 49er offense. The quarterback, of course, Joe Montana. Jeff Moore, one of the runners. Cooper, who just carried the other. And the wide receivers, Dwight Clark and Freddie Solomon. Up front, they've put a lot of pieces together because of injury. Mason Downing, Quillen, Cross, Von Horst, and Charlie Young is the tight end. The Denver defense in a minute. 2nd and 2 at the 49. Jeff Moore is the ball carrier. He got the first down. Out of bounds just in front of the Denver bench. Larry Evans knocked him out of bounds. The Denver defense now. 3-man front. Chavis, Reuben Carter, the nose tackle, and Rulon Jones, who had a hip pointer last week, is playing. Ryan Evans, Gradishar, and Jackson, the linebackers, and that's a good group. The secondary, Wright, Kyle, Harden, and Dennis Smith. Perhaps the 2 most physical secondaries in the NFL.
And 2 of those guys played in college together. Dennis Smith for the Broncos and Ronnie Lott at USC. That must have been a hit in the secondary.
Montana throws for Ronaldo Nehemiah. Those of you who watched the Dallas Cowboys win for the first time this year, 24-7 over St. Louis, welcome to Mile High Stadium in Denver. Pat Summerall with John Madden. No score here as yet, but the 49ers on the move after recovering a fumble by Denver. They'll measure for the first down on the completion from Joe Montana to Ronaldo Nehemiah. Skeets
Nehemiah. You know, Bill Walsh told us yesterday that he said watch out for Nehemiah today, that he had a slow start in training camp and he had a lot of hamstrings, and he said this week, a little short there for the first down, but he said this week it just all came into place for Nehemiah.
And isn't it a joy, John, to watch him run if you admire people who can move fast?
That's what you said yesterday. You said, well, I wish I could run like that. Let's see if we can watch him run on this play. He has a thing. Well, he slipped a little there, but just what he has, that lane and those moves, and I never ran like that when I was 10 years old. So I was bigger than that when I was 10 years old.
Overtime, the Pittsburgh Steelers beat Cincinnati 26-20. Touchdown pass by Terry Bradshaw. The Steelers looking tough. Montana gives to Cooper. He needed only a very short distance to get the first down, and he might have gotten just a very short distance. That's the final score. The New York Jets rebound after their loss to Miami opening day and beat New England 31-7. Now they'll measure again.
One thing, you know, Denver always has had great defense and does have great defense, but the thing that they do better than anyone is play short yardage and goal line. They are really tough.
Cooper didn't get that inch or 2.
This is going to be an interesting decision by the 49ers. We're only talking about a few inches. I'm sure they're going to go for it, but believe me, this is not automatic. Believe me.
What makes them so effective on short yardage and goal line situations?
Well, they play it different than anyone else. Now, see, here they're playing the 3-man line in this one, but you just see they have strength, they anchor, and they get good penetration from their linebackers. Now they're in a 4-man line with Randy Gradishar, the middle linebacker, and he'll make the tackle.
Look how deep he is. 3rd down. Montana rolls. Montana will have the first down. And wisely, he trots out of bounds. Goes out of bounds at the 35-yard line of Denver.
And that was the smartest play against that short yardage defense. Fake to the inside, get them all pulled in, and then run outside. Now watch Gradishar here, 53. He's deep. He's going to meet that ball carrier right at the line of scrimmage, but the ball carrier didn't have the ball. Montana kept it, and there was no one outside.
As deep as he is, he runs just about as far as the ball carrier does to get to that point of contact. Cooper the lone setback. Jeff Moore now goes in motion. Montana looking left. Throwing left. Pass intercepted by Aaron Kyle. Kyle still on his feet, still going. Denver has the turnover now. They'll take it over at their own 38-yard line. A 14-yard return by Aaron Kyle. Keith Von Horst finally made the stop.
That was one of those things. We'll watch it again. It backfired here. See, here's Aaron Kyle. He's going to make the play, but it looked like as the receiver came down to run the pattern that Montana threw it to the wrong side. Now watch this. Montana's going to read the receiver. Now watch, we see the receiver come down. See, stop it there. He did the hook in here, and the ball was thrown outside.
Just a misunderstanding between the quarterback and his receiver, something they don't do very often. Nothing still. Philadelphia beat Cleveland, and those of you who watched that Eagle victory, welcome to Mile High Stadium in Denver, Colorado. Pat Summerall with John Madden. No score here. First down for the Broncos. They're at their own 38-yard line. Craig Morton is the quarterback. Egloff in motion. Morton drops, looks. Almost picked off and is intercepted. Jack Reynolds got the rebound, and the 49ers will have it in Denver territory. The boos for the Denver offense. There's the hacksaw.
He was in the right place at the right time. Now, this really isn't Craig Morton's fault. See, he looks to the left, can't find any. He sees his tight end in there. He throws it in there, tipped by one linebacker, Horn, and then caught by Reynolds.
Bob Horn, who did not expect to start, is starting today in place of Dan Bunz. It is still 0-0, but the 49ers have another break. Next Sunday, the Giants will be at Pittsburgh. The Steelers now 2-0. Coach John Madden and I will be there. Dallas now 1-1 against Minnesota up there. And the Vikings now 1-1. The Rams at Philadelphia. St. Louis, Washington, Chicago, San Francisco. Here at Mile High Stadium, it's the 49ers nothing, Denver nothing. 49ers first down on the Denver 46. Joe Montana, the quarterback. For Solomon. Got him. Touchdown, 49ers. For Freddie Solomon. Aaron Kyle back there with him. Kyle, who had just picked off an interception, but Solomon got the good throw from Montana.
That was something. They went two tight ends now, and they just had one wide receiver in there. Freddie Solomon, he was out to the left side, and he just ran a streak on that play.
Just a go, and he was gone.
Let's see if we can watch it again. We have him here. There's no one else in the picture, which doesn't show a lot, but there's Aaron Kyle, and you did see as Freddie Solomon went down there, he didn't do anything. He just outran Kyle, looked back, and the ball was thrown perfectly by Joe Montana.
Montana holds. Ray Wersching makes it 7-0 49ers. Freddie Solomon's caught two passes this year, both for touchdowns. And the 49ers move out to a 7-0 lead with 12:14 left in the first quarter at Denver.
Football fans will sit through almost anything to watch a good football game.
Aaron Kyle was isolated on Freddie Solomon. We'll see the play fake in here. Now watch it hold the linebackers and the free safety right here. See, now that left Kyle out there by himself. Now watch the effect of the play pass. See, here's a linebacker held here. The safety's here. He can't get over deep because of the good play fake, good pass protection. And that's why Kyle was isolated.
And that's why Solomon took the touchdown pass from Montana. There's Fred. And after Ray Wersching's extra point, it is 7-0 49ers. Wersching to kick off now. Will Height and Manning back deep. Wade Manning just downs it in the end zone. And now for an NFL Today report, let's go to Brent Musburger in New York.
Pat and John, here's the anatomy of a winning touchdown. Harris on a short run for the Eagles as they came right back, but it was offensive tackle Steve Kinney who kicked out Tom Cousineau, and then linebacker Ed Johnson could not whip Harris. Harris wins that, and the Eagles come back and beat the Browns by 3. Let's go back to you now in Mile High Stadium.
And Brent, it's a great day at Mile High Stadium. They talked, as I said earlier, about the possibility of rain, but that looks like it must have stayed on the other side of the mountain. It's a perfect day. San Francisco 7, Denver nothing. They operate from the 20 with Craig Morton still the quarterback. Dave Preston breaks a couple of tackles, gets good yardage outside the 25 to the 27. Carlton Williamson made the stop.
Let's watch the blocking here in the left side by Claudie Miner and Tom Glassick. We'll see right there coming down on Stuckey. They take him to the ground. Good block there by the tight end. That allows Preston to get through right there.
It'll be second down, 8 yards. Give Preston on that carry. 2nd and 2 at the 28. 2 tight ends again for the Broncos. Craig Morton, the quarterback. Pitches back to Rick Harris. Harris very nearly a first down. Again, it was Carlton Williamson.
You know, Rick Barrows,
excuse me, John, it is first down.
Pat, he's one of those Dallas type of fullbacks. You know, Dan Reeves, when he first came here to Denver, he said he wanted, you know, the smaller, quicker type. Harris is 5'11" and 200 pounds, and not that big 220, 230-pound fullback.
This time, Jim Wright, another tight end for the Broncos, lines up at fullback. Now he moves to the left, and they have, again, that 2 tight end setup. Straight ahead Broncos, not much doing. Jack Reynolds led the 49er defense.
Well, you know, the last pass that Craig Morton threw in the last time they had the ball was intercepted, and it looks like on this drive they decided to establish the run, which today is impossible. You know, the thing you have to establish really is mixture.
Which is what the 49ers did so very well last year when they were the Super Bowl champions. On 2nd and 7, number 7 drops to throw and does. Riley Odoms makes the catch in 49er territory. 18-yard pass completion from Morton to Odoms. First down, Denver.
I'll tell you, Riley is a big target. You know, that's what you like in those tight ends. He's 6'4", 235 pounds. This is what Morton sees. Good pass protection. You see that big target in there. Just hit him right between the linebacker Reynolds and the corner coming in.
The Broncos have 3 tight ends of whom they're very proud. This time Upchurch comes out to the left. Gerald Wilhite is the deep back in the I formation, and he gets the carry. Wilhite, the #1 draft choice, hit at the line of scrimmage, lunges for a couple. Ronnie Lott on the tackle. 4th quarter. The Los Angeles Raiders looking very tough. 38. Atlanta 14.
I guess Marcus Allen is for real, isn't he?
I know he scored 2 touchdowns. I don't know who got the last one. The last time I looked at the score, it was 31-14. Bill Walsh said yesterday to us after they faced him last week, he is going to be great.
He compared him to O.J. Simpson. That's about as good a comparison as you can get.
That's some pretty good company. Here's Morton throwing back to Upchurch, and Upchurch is going to throw or run or whatever. A very fancy-looking play that doesn't accomplish too much. Lawrence Pillars knocked him out of bounds.
Hey, that's one thing about that 49er secondary. What they were trying to do, watch this, they fake into the back, throw it out to Upchurch. He's coming to the right. He has screen protection out in front of him. He's looking downfield, but it didn't fool Ronnie Lott on that side. They were trying to take advantage of Ronnie Lott.
Steve DeBerg over on the sideline. He'll get some action before the day is over. Of course, he used to be with the 49ers. 3rd and 11 from the Broncos shotgun. Craig Morton will operate. Gets a good snap. Steps into the pocket. Hit down by, well, let's see. It was Stover who made the sack. That's a pretty interesting story.
Yeah, Stover is number 72. He's the guy that didn't even play college football. He was a shot putter, We'll see him come in from behind. Morton didn't even see him. Excuse me, that wasn't Stover, though, was it?
Of course, Morton hangs a long time in that pocket, steps up into the pocket. And on some occasions, people say he holds it too long. Can't argue with success, though. He's been a good one. Luke Prestridge gets off a good punt. Bill Ring lets it bounce. And it goes out of bounds at about the 1-foot line. What a punt by Luke Prestridge. 54-yard punt by Prestridge. Goes out of bounds about as close to the goal line as it could possibly get.
Those punters love to punt in Mile High Stadium.
San Francisco 7, Denver nothing. The score at Mile High Stadium as the fans start to pound. 8:11 left first quarter.
Out of the blue comes
Complicated football can be. The two quarterbacks talk with each other. There's the man who made the tackle a minute ago, along with Stover.
That's
Pete Kugler.
Pete Kugler. He was just switched back to defense this week. He was a defensive player. They made an offensive lineman out of him, switched him back to defense this week.
The end of the football is just about on the goal line. Everybody except the center for San Francisco is in the end zone. Montana is still there. He throws it away. Earl Cooper was the nearest 49er. The fans, of course, boo because Cooper really had no chance.
You know, this is a very dangerous place to pass. Of course, if the quarterback gets sacked, that's 2 points. If he happens to step on the end line, that's 2 points for the other team. Montana came very close. And of course, if you have a holding penalty in the end zone, that's 2 points. So when that quarterback goes back to throw out of the end zone, a lot of things can happen, and most of them are bad.
Dwight Clark and Russ Francis arrive late to the 49er huddle. Solomon out wide to the right, Clark to the left. Earl Cooper's the lone running back. Montana gets to Cooper. Almost lost the football. I think he held on. He's hit by Don Latimer first. He might have gotten a yard, but that's all.
I tell you, we were out here yesterday, and Luke Prestridge, the punter, and Rich Carlos, the kicker, were the only two out here. And, you know, all the other players were meeting. They were kind of all by themselves like kickers normally are. You don't realize how important they are until they come up with a big punt like that. That can change everything around.
Washington 6, Tampa Bay nothing. We understand that some parts of the country might be having some difficulty with transmission problems. It's 3rd and 9, so we'll keep you apprised of what's going on between Washington and Tampa Bay. Montana throws across the middle to Charlie Young.
That was a complete pass, Pat, but I think that's one of those things where it's short of the first down, and the 49ers will have to punt.
It does give their punter, Jim Miller, a little bit more room to operate. You could see that the Broncos have packed the house again, their 90th consecutive sellout at Mile High Stadium. Miller, of course, wears one shoe and punts with the foot that doesn't have a shoe. Too nice to be barefooted in that nice green grass. Miller gets off a fine kick. Upchurch will handle at the 42-yard line. Backtracks one step. Is hit at midfield. Stays on his feet momentarily. Knocked down by Bill Ring, number 30. 49-yard punt by Miller. A 9-yard return by Bill Ring. We will be in Pittsburgh next week when the Giants come to town. Coach Madden and I. By the way, John, congratulations to you on winning the Gold Microphone Award for outstanding football broadcasting. That takes place next, what, Thursday in New York?
Next Thursday in New York, and thank you very much. And thanks for everything that you've done on that part. There's an official that's down. It looked like he got kicked in the ankle.
The Bronco trainer out looking at one of the officials. That's Charlie Musser, who is injured. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League. It's intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Denver Broncos and the National Football League is prohibited. Pat Summerall with John Madden at Mile High Stadium in Denver. I don't think, John, there is a better place to view a football game than this stadium.
No, there's not, and it's a nice place to play. That grass down there is the turf that football should be played on.
1st and 10 at midfield for the Broncos. This is Wilhite looking for some room, finding some, lunging. Carlton Williamson is the man who tripped him up. Wilhite, their #1 draft choice. Got about 4. Maybe not quite that much.
They say that Gerald Wilhite really hasn't learned to run under control yet, that he's taking long strides, he's running too fast, and his feet aren't in position to make the cuts that he has to, but that'll come with time.
That was an interesting observation by Dan Reeves yesterday when he said that. 2nd and 7 at the 47-yard line. Morton out to Paris. He got a couple of yards, not much more, knocked out of bounds by Milt McCall. Seattle nothing, Houston nothing. First quarter score. By the way, we have information that Earl Campbell is out of the game for Houston, and he has an injury. We don't know as yet the nature of his problem. We will get it for you. 3rd down, 5 at the 45 for Denver. San Francisco leading 7-0. Pretty impressive career statistics for Craig Morton, who says this will be it, his last year. He dropped. Up into the pocket, and down he goes again. And once again, it's Pete Kugler, the first man there.
You know, Pete Kugler is one of those big, strong guys that he's had problem in training camp. He's had a bad back, and they've moved him from offense to defense, but he looks like he can pass rush. You see, he was in there, he was tied up by 2 guys. He comes off it and gets right in front of Morton. Now, the thing that caused that sack was the good coverage by the 49ers secondary, because Morton had a little time, but he had to wait and wait and wait, and then Kugler was there.
Luke Prestridge has punted 1 time. 54 yards. Bill Ring and Dwight Hicks last week. Another fine punt by Prestridge. Angling for out of bounds. He might have gotten that one out a little too early. Still a good kick. Out of bounds at the 18-yard line. A 32-yard punt. He hit it well. Just went out of bounds too early. Possibility, of course, looms that there will be a strike. That the National Football League Players Association will not play next week. However, we'll be in Pittsburgh. And the NFL today will also appear. Strike or no strike. That's Russ Francis in motion. Fumble by Montana. He gets it back.
Tell you something, the 49ers really don't look like the 49ers of last year, and I'm not just talking about this first half, but you know, those types of things. Last week they lost to the Raiders. They didn't have any timeouts left in the last 2 minutes. Joe Montana was sacked more than he'd ever been sacked, and they just don't look like they're hitting on all the cylinders yet.
You think, John, that's strictly because of all the injuries they've had?
I sure do.
Namaya was in motion. Montana gets it out to Dwight Clark, who always seems to find an open spot in everybody's secondary.
I'll tell you, there is a guy that is really something special. You know, he just has that feeling to find open areas and spaces.
And that's unique. He caught 85 passes last year. You don't have to have a lot of speed. He doesn't have that burning speed.
No, but he has great body control and quick feet and good movement.
Montana's 4 out of 6. 69 yards he's picked up. 1 interception, 1 touchdown. Montana brings him out. Ronaldo Nehemiah comes out wide to the right, and now Montana says we're not exactly sure what we're doing, and that's something they didn't do much of last year.
Now, and those things always come back to haunt you. You know, when you use a timeout early, you can see the look on Bill Walsh's face that he doesn't like that. You like to keep those timeouts to the last 2 minutes of the half of the game.
Right now, for an NFL Today report, let's go to Brent Musburger in New York.
Back Pat and John, a monsoon in Tampa. The Redskins score on this touchdown pass, 8 yards. Theismann to Charlie Brown, who has 3 TDs in 2 weeks. They've added a field goal, so they lead it by 9. Incidentally, Earl Campbell's injury not serious. He's back in the game. Back to you in Denver.
All right, Brent, thank you. Monsoon in Tampa, huh? Understand that Pitt and Florida State played in a driving rainstorm last night in Tallahassee.
One good thing about monsoons, you get a lot of mud on the uniforms, and it looks like football. You know, mud, grass hanging out of the face masks, and on the helmets, the pants are dirty.
And it's natural turf in Tampa, so that can happen.
I know it. They can get some good mud. I miss that with the artificial turf. All the guys have clean uniforms, nothing on them.
Just doesn't look right, does it?
No, you got to have a little mud, little dust, little dirt, little stuff hanging off your helmet.
Some wire brushes on the sideline to get it out of your cleats. 4 out of 6 for Montana. It's 3rd down for the 49ers at their own 23. They lead 7-0. 3rd and 5 for a first. Russ Francis. Clark is lined up as a tight end on the other side. They go with 2 wide receivers. Cooper out of the backfield. Cooper has the catch behind him and lost it. The juggling Earl Cooper goes out of bounds. He would not have had the first down anyway. Randy Gradishar out there quickly.
Let's watch some of this line play here in this quick pass and see these first moves. You watch here, it's a pass rush. They know it's pass rush. They're taking them on short. You see Fawn horse number 71 there? That's what they call a short set. Boom, right on the line. Take them on now. Get your hands in. Look, there's bodies flying. Rulon Jones over the thing. Guys on the grab. That's great line play. Look at him. Bodies flying, circle somersaults.
Good
no
block
first
by
down.
Randy Cross, too. Jim Miller. There he is. This one he didn't catch. Upchurch at the 34. Got some room. Upchurch around the corner. Got some blocking. Upchurch cuts back. He could go. Rick Upchurch all the way for Denver. Touchdown.
He's always been one of the most dangerous punt returners in the league. But watch this. Right after he catches, there's going to be a block right there that started him off. That one that we didn't see, that was the one that started him off. And when you give Rick Upchurch a little start, he can take it down that sideline and really excite this crowd.
67-yard punt return. DeBerg will hold for Rich Carlos for the extra point. We have a tie. Chuck Heberling, the referee, just gave you the indication. And it's Denver 7, San Francisco 7. 67-yard punt return by Rick Upchurch.
When he first came in the league, Pat, he was just a punt returner. Now watch this. We're going to see Rick Upchurch when he catches the ball. Now watch the block right there. That was against Ferrari. That was the first guy. They stopped the first guy. That let Upchurch get to the outside. They had a little wall there, and then he outran the rest. The only one left was a kicker, and they don't make tackles.
Especially when they only wear one shoe.
And they're from a farm.
Rich Carlos is also a barefoot kicker. He'll kick off as Rick Upchurch gets the congratulations from his teammates and hi, Mom. The 7th return in his career for a touchdown by one of the best who ever did it. In fact, the best in terms of yardage, Rick Upchurch. Carlos will kick off. He looks like he's about 12 years old. Maybe a little older.
No, about 12.
Carlos kicks to Ring. Ring is hit at the 10-yard line by number 49, Dennis Smith. Now let's have a look.
Watch them come down here. Now, this is what they have to do. The first ones down have to get in and get through or break that wedge. See, now they're through the wedge, and, of course, Ring doesn't have a chance. But I'll tell you one thing. With this crowd in Denver, Pat, they've always been great fans here. And when they get the momentum and something's going their way, they really get crazy.
There is the kicking tee still there.
You know why? Because they have to kick over again. There's a penalty flag still there,
On
too.
the kicking team, number 55. We will replay the kick with a 5-yard penalty.
So Rich Carlos has to go back out and do it again. You say this is a great place to play, John. Did you feel that way when you brought the Raiders here?
I always, yeah, I did feel that way because we like the turf. And if you're not going to get cheered loudly, you like to be booed loudly. At least you know someone's there watching. That's the way my players.
And they could certainly get that done.
They were the best booers in the league, especially those south stands down there. I'll tell you, they were crazy.
That would be the stands off to our right. And a couple of other interesting things about that group of people that we'll get into a little bit later on.
Like the locker room sits right underneath that group, and they'd let you know at halftime, too.
They start bamming their feet and pounding on the stands, and you can't hear anything, I bet.
But I'll tell you one thing about these Denver fans is even when the Broncos weren't a good football team, this stadium looked like this.
That's going to be tough for Ring to handle, and Carlos sails it over his head and out of the end zone from the 30-yard line. That ball went 75 yards in the air.
You always wonder what happened to that tee. See, one person on the sideline, that kid right there, he's assigned to keep the tee. He runs out after they kick off, then he brings it back. Now he'll keep it. The one thing you don't want to do is lose that tee during a game. Let's see where he puts it.
You can also see the oxygen over on the sideline, and with this being the Mile High Stadium, you need that too.
You use a lot of that.
1st and 10 for the 49ers, 7-7 to score, 3:24 left first quarter. Montana chased. He's got to get rid of it soon. Intended for Jeff Moore. Incomplete, and Montana did well to survive.
Look what Montana sees coming from his right. It's going to be a safety blitz. We're going to see number 49, Dennis Smith, right there. See, he's the strong safety. He came on a blitz. He took an angle, and then Montana just ran right around it and threw the ball. Probably the best moving quarterback in football today, Joe Montana.
He's quite an athlete. Good basketball player. Washington 9, Tampa Bay 6 now, first quarter. In the rain down in Tampa. 2nd and 10 for the 49ers. Nehemiah goes in motion. Montana drops the throw. Does. Has Dwight Clark. And once again, he finds the open crease. And it's complete for a 49er first down.
I'll tell you, the 49ers last week didn't have good pass protection. Lindsey Mason is starting his first time at left tackle. Pretty good pass protection, except they left one go there who they thought hit after the whistle, and that's Greg Boyd, number 77 of the Broncos.
First down, 49ers at the 33-yard line, their own. Score is tied 7-7. Clark is out wide to the right. 2 tight end setup again. Charlie Young and Russ Francis. Pitch back to Cooper. Nothing doing for Cooper. Don Latimer, the first man to hit him.
You know, it's interesting that Earl Cooper is still in there because Bill Walsh was telling us that his best running back right now is number 40, Vince Williams. And he said he's going to play a lot more today, and he's going to play a lot more than Earl Cooper.
And so far, Cooper's done all the playing.
He hasn't yet. Maybe he was talking about the second half.
Maybe.
Maybe next week.
Does that mean we can't trust the coaches?
Maybe in practice he's talking about.
Maybe.
Now, excuse me. I believe that we're going to see Vince Williams.
Jeff Moore and Cooper still the runner. Here's Montana to Cooper. One-handed grab, but not much doing as Randy Gradishar is right there. But a penalty marker down because of a face mask violation.
You know, that was a screen pass. The toughest time to throw a screen pass is against man-to-man defense. Randy Gradishar was man-to-man against Earl Cooper on that play, and he arrived at the same time the ball did. The only thing is he grabbed the face mask. That should be a 5-yard penalty.
Unintentionally.
Unintentional.
That's why it's only 5.
Right. If it were intentional, then it's 15.
Chuck Heberling.
Face mask, defense, number 53, 5 yards, 2nd down.
There it is right there. The first thing, in fact, that's how he caught Earl Cooper. The first thing he grabbed was the face mask with the right hand.
Not a first down, not anymore. 2nd and 6 at the 37. Moore goes in motion. Montana to Solomon. Solomon off to the races almost. Gradishar tripped him up. Solomon very nearly gone for another touchdown.
Let's see if we can watch this from the end zone here. We'll see it. Freddie Solomon is coming from it'd be the left-hand side of the screen. He just runs a slant. It's just a timing pattern. We saw Joe Montana 1, 2, 3 step and throw. They worked many hours on that. Now the Broncos were running a stunt here. Now watch the offensive line pick it up. Just stay right there. They're bringing the linebackers. Gave Montana time.
26 yards on that pass completion. First down in Denver territory, and Montana goes to work again. Going deep. Almost caught by Nehemiah, and a penalty flag is down once again.
That's going to be against Aaron Kyle, and he's arguing. He's saying that he didn't do it until the ball got there.
36 yards they pick up on that penalty. It'll be first and goal for the 49ers.
He's arguing with Al Jury, the official there. Al saying that it was a penalty, that you can't touch him before the ball gets there.
Defense, number 22, first down.
But here we got it right here at the end. Now, if the ball's in the air, Kyle can go for it, but he can't. No, Kyle was right. He reached in there and knocked it down.
That looked like a good play.
That was a good play.
Woo. Not popular at all in Denver.
Shouldn't be.
This is Moore for the touchdown for San Francisco. And the 49ers recapture the lead. They faked to Cooper, gave it to Moore outside, and he got in.
The 49ers have a good plan on short yardage and good and goal line. Start inside. Now watch Moore. He starts inside. You see the defense? It all goes down low, packed inside, and then he just bounces it to the outside because everyone was slanting in. They got the strong safety, Dennis Smith, caught to the inside.
Jeff Moore scores the touchdown. Ray Wersching will try the extra point with Montana holding. And Ray, who never looks up until it's gone, hits it to go ahead 14-7 for his 49ers. And now for an NFL Today report. Let's go to Brent Musburger in New York.
Pat, here is that score down in Tampa by Doug Williams. You've certainly seen this before. Kevin House will break wide open in this sequence because a defensive back has slipped. And there goes House. He'll complete the touchdown run. They missed the extra point, and Pat, you can identify with this. They're having a terrible time snapping the ball on punts and extra points in this horrible weather. Back to you in Denver.
Brent, you're so right. It's hard to snap it. It's hard to hold it. And even more difficult to kick it because you can't get the traction when the ground is so wet like that. Not so much with the kicking foot, but with the left foot. If you're right-footed kicker.
That's really the most important foot, isn't it, for a kicker, is the plant foot.
Yes, it is. Wersching will kick off for San Francisco. 56 seconds left to play in the first quarter. It is the 49ers 14, the Denver Broncos 7. Rick Upchurch with a 67-yard punt return scored the Broncos touchdown. Back deep, Gerald Wilhite and Wade Manning this time. It's Wade Manning 5 yards deep in the end zone, and out he comes. Manning still on his feet, struggling, gets out to the 20. Let's go back and check that interference call that set up the 49er touchdown.
First, it was an 80-yard drive, but the big play is right here. I don't know. You see, there is not interference unless he called it for the bump just before that play. We have a change at quarterback now, Pat. Steve DeBerg is in.
Well, Dan Reeves had said he'd use him just about an equal amount of time. DeBerg, when he was in San Francisco, was the pocket quarterback. Montana was the scrambler. Now it's Morton who's the pocket quarterback, and DeBerg is the scrambler. Sammy Winder was the ball carrier. He just does get back to the line of scrimmage. Steve DeBerg.
Yeah, I think that Steve DeBerg, is going to play some now, and then Craig Morton will probably come in. It was interesting. Craig Morton said about the two quarterback system. He said, I don't care if that's what's good for the team. Steve DeBerg says, I don't like it, if I were number 1, but if I'm number 2, I like it because that means I'm going to play, and I know it.
2nd and 9, a 1-yard pickup. DeBerg hands off to Gerald Wilhite, and Wilhite bangs for first down outside the 30. Carlton Williamson. Dwight Hicks made the stop. And that will be the end of quarter number 1 as you look at Craig Morton over on the sideline. It is San Francisco 14, the Denver Broncos 7.
This buzz for everyone who knows they've got what it takes to get the job.
Wilhite to get the first down.
And indeed, it is a first down at the 32-yard line. Their own for Denver. 1st and 10. First play of quarter number 2. DeBerg, the quarterback. Upchurch swings in motion. The pitch is back to Ron Paris. Paris got a couple of yards, and that's all. Jack Reynolds, the first man there, pursuing as he's done for so many years.
Let's watch here. We're watching Riley Odoms. Now, he's going to be blocking Ronnie Lott. Now, Ronnie Lott is number 42, and I'll tell you, for a corner, he probably makes more tackles than anyone. What? He took on that block, he spun around, he's coming here to the outside, and he's right over the tackle.
Very strong, as well as being very quick. Ronnie Lott, Paris, and Wilhite, the runners. Here comes Upchurch in motion again. 2nd and 8. DeBerg blitz by San Francisco. DeBerg gets it away. This is Wilhite. Wilhite to the 40 of San Francisco, to the 39 of San Francisco. A 27-yard pickup.
That's one thing about Steve DeBerg. You know, he really doesn't move around much, but he is a fine, pure passer. And he was that way for the 49ers. Watch. He sees he's looking deep. He can't find anyone, so he comes to a secondary receiver and hits him underneath for a big play.
And Wilhite with that great speed. John Madden was talking about that a minute ago, about just burning speed and not being able or not concentrating perhaps on eluding people. But that time he did. Egloff goes back into the backfield now, the tight end. The deep back is Winder. The ball carrier is Winder. And Winder's got some good yardage. Sammy Winder down to the 30, past the 30 to the 24-yard line of San Francisco.
Now that's the one that Dan Reeves was telling us about yesterday. He was a 5th-round draft choice, as we see there. Gerald Wilhite was a 1st-round draft choice, and he said Winder has adjusted and adopted better than Wilhite. And right now, as we watch him start to the middle, break to the outside, Dan Reeves says right now he's the Broncos' most productive runner.
Dwight Hicks on the tackle. First down, Broncos at the 49er 24-yard line. The Niners lead 14-7. 12:46 left in the first half. Winder, one of the runners, along with Paris. This will be Sammy Winder again. Winder spins, breaks one tackle, maybe picks up 2 yards. Jack Reynolds again led the defense.
That's probably the toughest thing to do against a 3-man line, is to sweep. Because they have those 4 linebackers in pursuit going up and down the line of scrimmage, and by the time you get to the outside, they're all there.
Detroit leading the Rams 3-0. Problems with the Los Angeles Rams, it would seem. Steve Watson out wide to the left. Upchurch lined up inside him. DeBerg looking downfield to righty Odoms. Odoms moved to the outside. DeBerg led him to the inside. A mechanical, physical mistake.
That has to be one of those problems with a reading thing. That's why I never liked that. I wanted my quarterback to know where my end was, and the end to know where the quarterback was going to be. And that one, it looked like DeBerg thought Odoms was going in, and Odoms went out. DeBerg threw in, and Odoms was out. Darn near an interception.
Fred Dean makes an appearance in the San Francisco defense, along with Stover. There's number 74. Whoever has to block him, look out. DeBerg back to throw. Going high in the corner for Watson. Penalty marker goes down at about the 10-yard line. Let's see how they handle Dean.
I'll tell you, the guy that's blocking him is Claudie Miner, you know, and he's just been switched from left tackle to right tackle. But I'll tell you, he's always been one of the best offensive tackles in the league, and he's one guy that can handle. You know, he just waits. He doesn't overcommit on anything.
And that's, I'm sure, a tendency when you have to block someone like Fred Dean. People don't realize, John, what a difficult move that can be, to move from right to left.
28, first down.
It is tough because everything that was inside is now outside. Everything that was outside is now inside. Everything that was onside is offside. And everything that was offside is onside.
The penalty was called against the 49er linebacker Keena Turner. It's a first down for Denver at the Niner 20. San Francisco leading Denver 14-7. Rick Parris and Will Height, the two runners. Hand off Will Height. Will Height for about 5. Gets down to the 15. Jim Stuckey on the tackle.
You know, that's another thing. We were talking about Claudie Miner. The guy playing over him today is Jim Stuckey, who has been the starting left end for the 49ers. Of course, their starting right end, Dwayne Board, was injured last week, out for the season. So they moved Stuckey from left defensive end to right defensive end, and Lawrence Pillars is now the starting left defensive end. So you have a tackle who moved the left tackle against an end who moved the right end.
2nd and 5. 11-14 left in the first half. Is Egloff in motion? DeBerg rolls, throws, complete. Inside the 5 to Egloff. To Jim Wright. I'm sorry, not Egloff. The other tight end, Wright, 11 yards.
Let's watch him. He's number 87 there. He's listed as a 3rd tight end. Dan Reeves said he wants to play him more because he's one of the 3 tight ends that can get deep. You know, and he is going to be something for this team. He's only a rookie now, but eventually he'll be the starter.
It is 1st and goal as you get a look at Jim Wright. 1st and goal at the 4. The runners will be Will Height and Parris. Steve DeBerg, the quarterback. Egloff lined up as a flanker. Now he goes in motion. DeBerg, touchdown to Parris. Rick Parris brings the Broncos to within 1.
Hey, that was a great drive by quarterback Steve DeBerg. You know, he looks like he may know a little something about this defense, a little something about the 49ers. Of course, that was a team that he had played for. A little quick fake, and then boom, right out to Parris, who was the first back.
Perfect throw from DeBerg.
I bet there was a pick in there somewhere. Jack Reynolds was the closest man to him.
Rich Carlos with DeBerg holding. Rockets it right through the heart. And the Broncos have tied it up at Mile High Stadium.
Let's see if we can see if there is a pick. We see there's motion. Now watch Reynolds. He has to pick Parris. No, there's no pick there. He was just outrun by Rick Parris. Jack Reynolds beaten on the goal line.
It's something that they obviously had figured out that they would like to work on, and it worked. 14-14 tie.
Time. When you ship air cargo, time really is money. That's why Flying Tigers gives you 3 ways to get your shipment delivered, all guaranteed 100% or you don't pay. Overnight by 1 p.m., overnight by 5 p.m., and second day by 5 p.m. Flying Tigers. It's on time, or it's on us.
Flying Tigers.
Avis steps ahead with new Avis Express to get you from your plane to your car fast. I'm David Mahoney of Avis. Follow me. Walk right past those crowded airport rental counters, straight to the Avis bus. Avis Express is the first express service
Your name,
that
please?
does not require a bus pass, just your name. Your guaranteed rate contract is ready at our express location. Ask for Avis Express. Another way that trying harder makes Avis second to none.
19 left to play in the first half, and here's the situation at Mile High Stadium. San Francisco 49ers 14, Denver 14. Rich Carlos will kick off. There's the Broncos' last scoring drive. It was impressive. 10 plays, 80 yards, 537. DeBerg, the touchdown pass to Paris. Very impressive drive. DeBerg was 3 out of 4 for 42 yards and the touchdown pass as well. Here's Carlos to kick off. High kick. It will be Jeff Moore at the 1-yard line. There's Jeff Moore down at the 14. Very quickly. Wade Manning down in a hurry, along with Rob Lytle, who really has performed well on special teams. Next week, the Giants will visit Pittsburgh. The Steelers now 2-0 and on a roll again. This was supposed to be a rebuilding year for them. It'll be interesting to see what they look like. Rebuilding 2-0, and Dallas now in the win column 1-1 against Minnesota 1-1. Rams, Philadelphia, and the rest of the schedule next week here on CBS. First down, 49ers. Montana throwing on almost every down. Charlie Young to the 19. Aaron Kyle up to make the tackle.
You know, Lindsey Mason is playing his first game at the starting at left tackle for the 49ers. We drafted him years ago with the Raiders, and it's his first time to start. I always thought that he was going to be a good player. He played behind Art Shell there and didn't really get a chance to start. And now I think he's going to get a new life here. And I've been watching him today. He has to lose just a little weight, but I think he's going to get the job done.
He is 6'5" and 270. 2nd and 5 at the 20. Montana again to throw. Looks, pumps. Outside to Vince Williams. There he is. And Williams will have the 49er first down. Knocked out of bounds by Jackson.
I told you Vince Williams was going to play today. Huh? It is the first half, too. And Bill Walsh again thinks that, you know, Vince Williams will probably ultimately be the starter for this team.
Williams got the good size. He's 220. The rookie from Oregon. Montana 9 out of 13 for 118 yards. He has hit his last 5 in a row. But I do believe, John, as you pointed out earlier, the 49ers are throwing more than they want to.
Yeah, Bill Walsh says he really doesn't want to throw 40 times. He'd like to keep it down to around 28.
2 tight ends. Moore, the runner, to about the 31. Randy Gradishar, number 57, was the first man to make contact.
The one thing you mentioned, Randy Gradishar, I think he was probably one of the best linebackers in this league, and he's the toughest guy to run at. You know, if you run right at him, he's going to make the play. If you go away from him, he'll come in behind and make that play. And I'll tell you, when they had Tom Jackson, who was one also, and Gradishar and Evans and Bob Swenson, that was probably the best group of linebackers in the National Football League.
2nd down and 7. That's Vince Williams, the ball carrier, and again, Gradishar right there. The thing about Gradishar, not only is he tough and strong and whatever, he's so very quick. And some guys have that ability. They're hard to get to.
I know. You just can't get to him. You never get a clean block on him. He always has clean feet. You never get down there at his feet. Woody Hayes, you know, is a guy who would know something about it, but he said Gradishar is probably the best defensive player he ever had. So he's the best linebacker he ever coached in his life.
When you think of all the great ones that came out of Ohio State, that's a pretty fine compliment. Here's Montana to throw again. Pass almost picked off by Dennis Smith, and he had a lot of green in front of him.
Well, Dennis wanted this one. We'll see him. He's man for man here. See Montana go back. He really has pretty good pass protection. He's watching. He throws out there. Dennis Smith really got a good jump on that ball. The only thing he didn't do is hold on to it.
He of that great secondary at USC, along with Ronnie Lott and others. Miller back to punt for the 49ers. Good kick. And it will be the dangerous Mr. Upchurch from the 19. Upchurch nothing doing this time. Gets to about the 35-36. Bill Ring was the first man to hit him. 47-yard punt, a 17-yard return nevertheless. It is San Francisco 14, Denver 14, 7:48 left in the first half. Pat Summerall with John Madden at Mile High Stadium in Denver. 14-14. The injured starters for the 49ers, Board, Harper, Buns, Wright, Ayers, and Bubba Paris. They have really been hit. Sammy Winder and Rick Harris, the runners for Denver. This is Winder. Got about 5 yards. Lawrence Pillars made the stop. 12-6 now. In Tampa Bay, the Redskins over the Buccaneers. Interesting, the information we got about Sammy Winder yesterday. They thought he wasn't as fast as he is.
You know, that happens. They'll run a player. They'll get one time. It was on a sandy field or something. They got a bad time. It goes into computers. All the scouts have it, and it's wrong information.
2nd and 6. Watson came in motion. Paris picking his way. Gets across the 45, very near a first down. Bob Horn, playing in place of Dan Buns, made the stop.
That's the thing that Dan Reeves was talking about, that he wants it. Now watch Paris take the ball here. He'll start to the left. He said he doesn't want him to get there too quickly. Let the blocking develop, let it go, and then cut back against it. See, he wants his fullback to start up in there slow, under control, and then roll back against pursuit. That's a good picture and example of what he wants from his fullback.
And a perfect description of what he was talking about yesterday. 49ers overran the play, and he just cut back in the other direction. 3rd down, about a foot. Line of scrimmage, the 46 in Denver territory. Egloff in motion. Harris again. And this time, he made a mistake. Ronnie Lott, the first man up.
You know, on short yardage there, you can't bounce to the outside, because now watch Lott here. He's 42. He comes up to the outside. You see, he can't get outside because Lott's here. You have to keep the ball to the inside on short yardage. That's a mistake that Paris made on that play, and I'm sure that he won't make that all year. But on short yardage, when that corner's up there, coming across the line of scrimmage, you have to keep the ball back inside of him.
Here then is Luke Prestridge to punt. Bill Ring and Dwight Hicks back deep for the 49ers. Prestridge, one of the biggest punters in the NFL, 6'5" and 235. Pretty good kick again. Out of bounds down at about the 12. Of course, no return. For deeper than that, down at about the 7.5-yard line, it finally went out of bounds. 50-yard punt by Luke Prestridge. No return. 14-14. 49ers Broncos.
At Ford Motor Company.
Okay, now watch this. The only man that can go downfield are the outside men. And when a guy splits out, they normally split out too, but Luke Prestridge is going to kick to the left. Watch the job that they do on that man split out there. He tends to draw a crowd. Watch this. Boom. Double team. Boom. Whap. He never got off the line of scrimmage. That was Wade Manning.
First down, 49ers. Montana drops, looks, throws. Finally got Solomon. Solomon gets away from one man, knocked out of bounds at about the 15. Dennis Smith hit him out of bounds. San Francisco has had tough field position. Last 5 possessions, they've begun from the 1, the 18, the 20, their own 20, all of these, their own 18 again, and now they start from their own 8-yard line. That's tough.
You know, and you know the thing that caused that, or a big part of that, is the kicking game of the Broncos. You know, Prestridge has really put a couple of those kicks in there.
Now, one of them at the 1-foot line, that one at the 8. He's kept them buried. Moore was in motion. Here's Vince Williams, and he's shy of a first down. And right now, for an NFL report, let's go to Brent Musburger in New York.
Pat and John, more woe with that kicking game down in Tampa. Watch Curtis Jordan, number 25 of the Redskins. He is all over the punt. He also recovers it in the end zone for a Washington touchdown. And Pat, I'll tell you, the Redskins look impressive here the first 2 weeks of the season as they are sloshing their way to a lead in Tampa. Back to you and John at Mile High.
Redskins could be one of the surprise teams in the league this year.
How about Pittsburgh, as you said? They were writing them off, and You know, Bradshaw, Swan, Stallworth, Harris, they're still good players.
Montana throws to Eason Ramson. And the backup tight end will get the first down for San Francisco, I believe. Yes, indeed. They've been working him at wide receiver lately because of the injury to Wilson. Normally he's a tight end, but they have two good tight ends already in the persons of Charlie Young and Russ Francis. So Ramson can play anywhere. First downs, 9 apiece. San Francisco out of the shadow of the goalpost a bit now. First and 10 from their own 22. Right part lined up tight to the left. Montana looking in his direction. Montana being chased. Bryson Manor takes him down. The backup defensive end, but one hand gets him down.
That's the thing that usually doesn't happen to Joe Montana. We're going to see it here from the end zone. Now Bryson Manor's coming outside. You see he beats the left tackle, he beats the left guard, he beat two men, and then just grabs Montana's shirt. Joe can't get away. That's where you need those tearaway jerseys. But that was a great pass rush by Bryson Manor. It's the first sack they had of Montana today, but he really beat two men. They were doubling him with Walt Downing and Lindsey Mason.
A loss of 11. On second down, Montana throws and has his receiver. Again, it's Solomon. And perhaps they took too much time.
Delay of the game. Offense number 16.
They call it against Montana, which they always do. Against the quarterback, I mean, not just Joe Montana.
It could tend to make a quarterback paranoid, couldn't it? But when they don't get it off in 30 seconds, then they give that to the quarterback. Now here's Bill Walsh. He's calling the play. He gives it to Ronaldo Nehemiah.
Delay of the game.
He's done that.
Offense number 16. Second down.
Nehemiah will go in, give the play to Montana. Right here we see it. So he's telling him to play. Montana says, I got it. Now he goes and tells the rest of the guys.
You know, there's so many little things, John. We talked about that field position. When you call the plays from the sideline, again, it creates a problem because it takes so long for the messenger to get in there. They got more yards to cover.
In that case, he had to run 50 yards to get in there.
And again,
they're confused again, and they have to take a timeout.
And that is 2 timeouts that the 49ers have burned in the first half. Bill Walsh, who seems so very relaxed and cool, but inside he can boil, and does very often. 14-14, San Francisco and Denver.
So I said to her, why don't look.
Here is the confusion on that last play that caused the 49ers to call a timeout.
Look at all those guys in the backfield. See, they have 3 there. Jeff Moore starts to go that way. They said no. Montana said you belong over there. 3 men, you're supposed to go there. Oh, the heck with it. Timeout. Let's talk about it.
And that's what they did. And now they huddle in the end zone. With it 2nd and 26 back at their own 6-yard line. Vince Williams is the lone setback. Jeff Moore right up over to the right. Montana back in his own end zone. Looking, taking a lot of time, and finally throws. Finds somebody. Jeff Moore. Not nearly enough for a first down, but at least they got some breathing room. 10 yards on that pickup. Jim Ryan made the stop. He's the one who has replaced Bob Swinson, playing in big shoes to fill and also with a broken finger in his hand. Baltimore 17, Miami 14. Halftime. Over Seattle 7-0. Second. Montana is now 12 out of 17. 3rd and 16 for number 16. Outside to Moore. Screen pass. Runs into his own blocker. Is knocked down by Randy Gradishaw.
He was really knocked down by his own guard, Randy Cross. He started out there. Cross delayed too much. It looked like they didn't really have the timing on that play. Cross was staying when he should have been going.
And so enter number 3, Jim Miller, the 49er kicker. And Rick Upchurch standing back at his own 40. He has returned one already, 67 yards for a touchdown. He is one shy of the all-time record in touchdowns. A rocket by Miller. Chases Upchurch all over his head, bouncing, and finally goes into the end zone. What a punt. 80-yard punt by Miller.
You don't think that this mile-high altitude, these punters love that? It can only happen in Denver.
That ball went 63 yards in the thin air. Denver has the ball.
Born of tradition, nurtured.
NCAA next Saturday. Now the Nebraska Cornhuskers against the Penn State Nittany Lions. Penn State led by quarterback Todd Blackledge, who's thrown 12 TD passes in 3 games. And Nebraska is undefeated, led by 2-star running backs Roger Craig and Mike Rozier. They beat New Mexico State yesterday 68-0, 883 yards in total offense. Talk about your #1 teams in the country. Maybe that'll settle something. Egloff was the fullback in that case. DeBerg going deep. Upchurch intended. Overthrown.
You know, it was interesting early in the game. The first pass that Craig Morton threw, he threw on that side to his left against Lynn Thomas, who's replacing Eric Wright, who has a hamstring injury. And they really haven't gone back to that side until now. Looked like Steve DeBerg was just waiting and saying, let me go to that side.
So it'll be 2nd and 10 for Denver. We have 2:51 left to play in the first half. It is Denver 14, San Francisco 14. The Hacksaw, if you're wondering, is playing well. From the shotgun, DeBerg gives to Gerald Wilhite. The forward handoff, penalty marker down. Back in the backfield, deep, Lynn Thomas made the stop. By the way, excuse me, I was just going to say that the longest punt in 49er history until that one by Miller was 59 yards by Steve Spurrier. That one went 80 yards. So he broke it by a pretty good margin.
That is so. I'll tell you, all punters love to come to Denver, but sometimes it's like having that short left field fence. They try and kill the ball and get a lot of shanks.
Holding. Offense number 70. 2nd down.
Holding on the offense. The stats so far in the first half, the yards rushing. 49ers only have 25 yards on the ground. That's not the balance they're looking for. Total yards, they have 170. Watson out wide to the right, Upchurch to the left. DeBerg, the quarterback, on 2nd and 20. Hand off to Paris. Stays on his feet, still fights, gets out to about the 14. Fred Dean, John Hardy on the stop for San Francisco.
I'll tell you, that holding penalty was a costly one for the Broncos. It was against their right guard, Dave Studdard, because that put him where they had, 2nd and 15, and now there's only 2 minutes 17 seconds, so they couldn't go for a first down. Now they're just trying to run some time off the clock.
Detroit 9, the Rams nothing. 2nd quarter. 3rd and 16 here at Mile High Stadium. DeBerg out of the shotgun, gets it outside, intended for Paris. They're trying to set up a quick screen. DeBerg over the head of Paris.
Well, DeBerg was complaining on that play, Pat, that Paris was held. And he was. As he started to go outside, Jeff Stover grabbed Paris, and then DeBerg threw it over his head. That's what he's saying. He's saying you can't grab the guy.
So we'll get another look at Luke Prestridge. San Francisco 14, Denver 14, 2nd quarter, 2 minutes to go. Pat Summerall with John Madden at Mile High Stadium in Denver. 14 for the 49ers and 14 for Denver. They've just been given a 2-minute warning. Broncos deep in their own territory. 4th down, 16, Luke Prestridge.
The 49ers may get some good field position here. They only have 1 timeout left, and I bet they wish they'd saved one of those.
Don't forget at the half, Brenton Irv in the NFL Today, and the update of all the scores and highlights from around the NFL. Prestridge hits a beauty. Dwight Hicks chased all the way back to his 28-yard line. Penalty markers all the way down, already down, as Hicks skates out to about the, just shy of the 40-yard line. 57-yard punt, 10-yard return, but a penalty marker down.
And that's going to take 10 yards away from that field position we were just talking about, because they would have had field position, but now it's going to go back 10 yards. That'll be one of those clipping or blocking from behind above the waist.
One of those categories.
Against the 49ers, right.
49ers, again, as John said just a minute ago, only have one timeout remaining in the first half. Chuck Heberling.
Illegal use of the hands. Number 88 on the receiving team. First down.
Number 88, of course, is Fred Solomon. Montana still the quarterback, as you would expect. Charlie Young, the tight end, is tight to the left side. Solomon is out in that direction. Clark out wide to the right. Montana rolling to the right. Clark still going. Montana throws. Jeff Moore was the intended receiver. He tripped, fell down, and Montana threw it out of bounds.
That's the thing. Had they had better field position, you know, where they could get a first down or two and then kick a field goal, I think that would have been more important. Now what the 49ers have to do is think in terms of first down, and they're second and long.
What a great year Montana had last year. Led the NFL, the most valuable player in the Super Bowl. Doesn't seem to have affected him personally very much.
You know, he's all those things, but he's also one of the real nice guys.
That's right.
Really unaffected.
He rolls to his right. He throws to Clark, and Clark has it. Clark down the sideline, knocked out of bounds by Mike Harden. But that'll improve that field position considerably. 31-yard pickup. Montana to Clark.
Let's see if we can watch that again. Now, Montana bought some time here. You see it's a zone. Louis Wright bumped Clark. Now he has the short zone. The safety, Harden, didn't get over. So it was hit between Louis Wright, the short man in the zone, and Mike Harden, the deep man in the zone.
Boy, that's where you have to attack that zone, especially if that safety man doesn't get over there.
Well, it looked like Louis Wright missed his bump. He can bump Clark in those first 5 yards. It looked like he didn't get enough of him.
First down, San Francisco at the Denver 38. Solomon out to the left. Blitz by Denver. 49ers pick it up pretty well, and once again it's Dwight Clark with good yardage near a first down. Louis Wright knocked him out of bounds. Just shy of a first down.
This is one of those option things. Now watch Dwight Clark, 87. He starts in, he sees the coverage, and look, he just stops and runs back out to the sideline. There's no defensive back in the picture.
He is really aware of where he is and where the defense is.
Did you see that? He was just looking, and then he saw that there was no defense out there. He stopped, ran right back, and Montana knew exactly what he was going to do.
2nd and 1. Clark with 4 catches. Hand off to Moore. Moore struggles near a first down. Maybe not. Larry Evans, Dennis Smith, the tacklers for Denver.
I don't think this is a timeout. I think this is a referee's timeout just to measure.
Which is really a break for San Francisco.
If they get back in the huddle and call a play, but they aren't even huddling up. They're waiting to see the results. If they didn't take a timeout, that's a mistake for the 49ers.
It is a first down, and now they get up quickly. They had a rather loose huddle.
I guess they were. I guess they did have some guy in the huddle.
More of a loose discussion. Minute 16 still left to play in the first half. 49ers on the move. Montana out to Moore. Moore hit quickly by Randy Gradishar. And what an open field tackler he is.
And now Montana's calling timeout. That will be his last timeout, and they have a minute left to go.
See, if they had to try a field goal from here, would be about 45 yards for Ray Wersching. He was hitting yesterday from between 52 and 55, so he can get it there.
He said, we talked to him after practice, and he said that this altitude here added 10 yards to his kicking. He said he can kick 10 yards farther here than he can in Candlestick in San Francisco. So they are within his range now. I wonder if he's smiling.
Well, I don't know. You can't tell because he never looks up.
He doesn't look up. On the sidelines he does. See, they're talking about how far, and if they see, the coach is keeping a chart there as where they are now and how far that would be if they don't gain any more yards.
Really, you know, in case you haven't heard this before, he doesn't ever look at the goalpost until after the ball is kicked. He gets his directions from the hash marks. Because the hash marks just go right down the side of the goalpost.
Right, and he just kicks right between the two hash marks, and he says, you know, the hash marks look a lot wider than those two sticks on the goalpost.
Situation now, 1 minute left to play in the first half. Score tied 14 apiece. 2nd and 12 at the 29-yard line of Denver. 49ers on the move. Montana 16 out of 22, 193 yards. This is still the first half. Buy some time. He has more. Moore gets some yards down to about the 24. He's knocked out of bounds by Dennis Smith and stops the clock.
I think what Montana would like to do now with 53 seconds and not having any more timeouts is maybe work one more to the sidelines where they can get out of bounds and stop the clock. Then I think they'll probably take a shot to the end zone and then kick the ball if they're not successful. Of course, with 3rd down, the thing that he has to think of right here is just getting a first down and getting out of bounds. Then if he does get it, then he can go for the end zone. If not, they'll kick a field goal from here.
He has Clark as the tight end on the left, and he quick counts, looking in Clark's direction, throwing for Dwight Clark. Touchdown! What a catch! What a throw!
What a catch and a throw! Maybe the Broncos were thinking the same thing that I was. 3rd and 7, they'll be going for the first down, but they went. He watched Dwight Clark all the way. What a combination that is, Joe Montana and Dwight Clark. Just watch the catch here. He's coming across the field. Look at that concentration. Leap, extending his hands and fingers out there, grabbing it in. Great catch, but it was a great throw.
Dwight Clark.
He's too good looking to be a football player. Whew. He'll just walk around.
But gosh, he can play too.
He sure can. He's one of the best.
Ray Wershing with Montana now holding. Wershing hits and makes it 21-14. 49ers over the Broncos. We were talking to Dwight Clark yesterday at practice. Well, let's look at that touchdown again. It is a thing of beauty.
Watch it now. It is good protection. You see the left side of the line. They give Montana time so that he can step up and throw, and he throws a perfect pass. Now watch Clark. He's out there. Now watch this extension right at the end, all the way, reaching out as far as he can, bringing the ball in for the touchdown.
There's Russ Francis. Don't forget, coming up at the halftime, the NFL Today. Brent Nerve with scores and highlights from around the league, and there should be a lot of those. Next week, Coach Madden and I will be in Pittsburgh when the Giants visit the Steelers. Dallas will be up in Minnesota. Both of those teams 1-1. The Rams, Philadelphia, St. Louis, Washington, Chicago, San Francisco. Dwight Clark over with the oxygen on the sideline after that stretch.
I'll tell you, they probably use more oxygen on this field. You know, it really does tell. The thing you have to do is come in late and leave early in this field.
Wershing booms a kickoff deep into the end zone, handled by Wilhite. Wisely, he stays back there.
You know, this is one of the things that you can't adjust to, is this altitude here. And you know, we did a lot of studies when you play in Denver. Do you come in early and try and get adjusted to it? And they say that there's no way that you can. So what we would do is we would come in as late as we can and then get out as early as we can and spend as little time as we can and bring a lot of oxygen tanks. Because the players really do go to that in this stadium.
And you can, psychological or not, you could feel it. I know walking up the stands yesterday, I could feel it. On first down, DeBerg looks and has Riley Odom. About 8 yards. Dana McLemore made the stop on Odoms. And Denver takes a timeout. They have 2 left.
Hey, the 49ers have really done a good job in this first half. They've had a patched up offense, a patched up defense. One player that we didn't mention is John Ayers, who is suffering from a viral infection, and he stayed home, and that just came up at the end of the week. Walt Downing is starting in his place, and they've had a lot of different players playing, but they look like they're playing pretty solid.
The injury to Dwayne Board was a crucial one for the 49ers because Bill Walsh was saying to us yesterday how well he had been playing. They'll miss him.
And he said that he was probably the most valuable player on their defense. He said he was even more valuable to them than Fred Dean is.
Fred Dean is in the game now. Of course, he comes in situations like this when you feel that the other team has to pass. Stover at the other end. Pete Kugler playing in the middle. Some strange names on the 49er defense. Shotgun. DeBerg gets it out to Sammy Winder. Bobby Leopold right with him.
Let's watch the blocking on Fred Dean. You know, he's a guy that draws a crowd too, and we'll watch him here, and he's working against Claudie Miner there. You see he gets by Claudie Miner, and right there's Dave Preston in the back to take him on, and by the time he eventually gets here, Steve DeBerg has thrown the ball. Tell you, but you have to do something to Fred Dean. You just can't block him single. You either have to have a tight end and double with a tackle, or you have to have a back in there or a guard sliding. Every time that guy comes in the game, he sees a different type of block, and it's at least 2 guys.
Great to have a player like that on your either offensive or defensive unit who can make the other team make a change in what they want to do.
Right, and then usually someone else, if they put 2 or 3 on him, that means that you have someone else single, and if they can beat their guy, then that's where the sack or the harassment comes up.
With 32 seconds to go, DeBerg makes a quick trip to the sideline. Line of scrimmage, the 37-yard line of Denver. The 49ers leading 21-14. Closing seconds down to 32 seconds of half number 1 at Mile High Stadium. DeBerg looks it over. He'll look it over from the shotgun. He lines up a little closer to the center than some teams do as Kugler bangs into the center.
There's the old thing that always drove me crazy. You know, again, how can a guy line up over the ball and jump off sides? Just watch the ball, Pete. Of course, I know why they do it, because they're anxious and they want to get started. They know they're going to get double teamed or whatever, and they want to get going.
Encroachment defense, number 67. First down.
They look more serious than encroachment.
Encroachment is more serious than offsides.
First down, Broncos, low snap this time. DeBerg has plenty of time. Throws. Preston gets out of bounds in front of the San Francisco bench. The official says no, he didn't get out of bounds. And the crowd doesn't like that at all. 22 seconds left to play. Now the clock is stopped.
I think whether he's in bounds or out of bounds, I think the Denver Broncos has to start getting the ball up the field. That they can't be satisfied with these 5- and 10-yard gains. They have to start thinking of picking up 15 and 20 yards, because if they don't, they're not close enough for a field goal, and time is running out.
They had to use a timeout. He didn't get out of bounds, so they had to burn their last timeout. So they got to work those sidelines now. Nobody has a timeout left. 22 seconds showing on the clock as DeBerg comes over to talk to Dan Reeves.
Well, with 22 seconds, they know that they can get, in 22 seconds, you can get 3 plays off if the clock stops at the end of the play. If it's an incomplete pass, you can go to the end zone or the sidelines, but I don't think that there's any way that they can go to the middle.
DeBerg 6 out of 9, 65 yards, the 1 touchdown. It's 21-14 San Francisco over Denver. A patched up defensive crew for the 49ers. Fred Dean, Stover, Kugler, the front three.
Looks like they're going to move Fred Dean over to the left side, and he's going to see how he can do on this side against Lanier.
Takes an inside rush, Dean does. Penalty marker down, pass complete. They do get out of bounds this time. That's Sammy Winder who makes the lunge to get out. 17 seconds left to play. It's holding against Denver. That's left to play in the first half. Chuck Heberling calling the rest of his officiating crew. Also consulting with Dwight Hicks.
I wonder if that holding was against Fred Dean. You know, he tends to draw a lot of that type of thing, too. We saw him. He started out against Ken Lanier. He took an inside rush and ended up on Paul Howard.
Holding offense number 64. First down.
On the offensive center, Billy Bryan.
Maybe it was. Let's watch Dean. See, he starts in here. He's going against Lanier. Now, yep, it is Bryan. See, he's going to be the guy that holds Dean, and he held him right there, I guess. No, that wasn't him. No, he was holding someone else. That was Howard.
He was holding Kugler. A lot of holding going on. First and 20. DeBerg again takes the snap. Now he's being pursued by Dean. He does throw. Church can't get out of bounds this time. Carlton Williamson made sure, and that should just about take care of the first half. Church shaking a little bit. First half is over. And at the end of this first half, it is the San Francisco 49ers 21, the Denver Broncos 14.
Your business machines say a lot about the way you do business. Quick, right. Canon's NP400F delivers 40 letter-sized copies in a minute.
Consider it done.
Responds with reduction, even enlargement. Keeps you organized with a document feeder and optional sorter.
Attaboy.
The Canon NP400F system copier. Technology that keeps you going. Call toll-free for information or contact your authorized Canon dealer.
The Hilton's right across the street.
Let's meet back at the Hilton at 8.
Meet you at the Hilton at half. I'm over at the Hilton. Come over.
5 minutes to get to the Hilton.
I'm at the Hilton.
Let's walk over to the Hilton. I'll meet you later at the Hilton.
You know, the Hilton's got the best steak in town.
See you at the Hilton.
And you can reach me at the Hilton. Just call me at the Hilton, and we'll get down to your business right away.
When American business hits the road, American business stops at Hilton. America's business address.
America on the move, on the tire Michelin pioneered, the Radial. We are moving thousands of trucks and trailers. We are delivering produce and flowers and school children. We are taking people to work, to shop, to play. We are pushing, hauling, carrying, scraping. When America demands performance, we deliver. We are Michelin, and we put America on radials.
The NFL on CBS Sports, where you're with the winners in the booth.
Over Tampa Bay, 18-6 in that one. 21-17, Miami with the lead in that one. San Francisco and Denver, the game you're enjoying here on CBS, and the 49ers lead it by 7. A lot of action to...
Sunday marks the season premiere of 60 Minutes. Then it's a special 90-minute preview. Meet 7 brothers and 1 new bride. They're fighting to save the home they love.
I don't want to sell a Wheeler.
And no one can stand in their way. There's action, adventure, romance, and music. 7 brides for 7 brothers. And on Alice, things get crazy when Vera takes over Mel's diner. Then, are Trapper and Gonzo quitting? It's all happening Sunday.
Tonight on CBS.
We'll be back with a traffic check right
Okay, let's see what the news says about the game.